Hello, everybody. This is Dumbledorkus from Revenant Society, here to talk about Soul Exchange in hopefully 5 minutes or less. So, at the 10 tier, we have this is really going to be for people who are free to play or maybe extended a little bit to get a hero last Soul Exchange and are still not quite at the ability where they can have a bunch of overage of heroes to trade in. So, the only one I find worth mentioning is going to be Lysanor. If you do not have a reviver for a rush, war, or tournament, Lysanor is a valid option and huge chance of revive, increased attack, boosted health over time, and a good class for it. Plus, she can speed up in a couple different ways. I think this is your girl. So if you're missing a reviver and aren't don't have any of the newer ones, this might be a good choice. Everyone else to me is too understated or not enough going on in the special to make them worth considering. At the 15 tier, we have a lot more interesting choices. So I feel like Nautica's little brother, Carta, was always a great hero, but just overshadowed by Nautica. So it has healing, it has a great construct family that can boost that amount of healing even more. So really up to 70% healing, depending on the amount of damage it takes, with some of that being potentially boosted healing. That's huge. Also great passive and resist special skill blocking. So big healer. I really like the Aether class, or the Aether talent of counterattack. I love that it lifts, so it's a super dispeller. It not only lifts that super cleanser, I guess, lifts any sort of buffs, puts them on the enemies, and you get a mana percent boost. So this is a great healer. Common theme with 15 tier right now is going to be cleansing. So Alvar is a hitter cleanser, so he's kind of very similar to Nautica, Nautica Carta, where he's going to be super dispelling, putting that on the enemy, so same kind of talent there, hitting then, and then enemies reflect buffs. So it's very good for certain teams where if you can get ahead of them, they're going to reflect buffs to you. It's going to cleanse any ailments on you and put them on them, so it kind of flip-flops that. The problem was there's too many Delarfullers and Hathors out there that fire first, and then Alvar really takes a hit in what he can do. But I did max him. I have him at 90. I think he's interesting and useful for some opponents. And his stats are pretty good. Sparklight, when put in the same boat as Alvar, I'm not sure why you would choose Sparklight over Alvar. He's got also good passives, so he shares damage. That can be a downside sometimes, depending on the health of your heroes. He does resist poison, which is okay. And he's got this Astral Elves family, which is really cool to dispel. So he has like a passive dispel chance. And then that actually works a little bit against the last line in his special, which is enemies then reflect status effect buffs. So, I guess it works maybe okay with it. So it depends on what you want to do. But, yeah, so it's again kind of like Alvar, but only 3 wide. His hit's a little bit harder, but his stats are a little lower. So I don't think you would choose Sparklight over Alvar. Satori is very interesting too. He's got a lot of passive that can actually speed him up quite quickly. He does a pretty good hit, which is going to be a lot weaker now against most modern teams, especially up to 30% against like anyone on the other team who dispels. So that's huge. But the real part why you would use him is that he drops percent chance to drop damage to 1 for 4 turns from himself and nearby. And if it's dispelled, it dispels buffs. So we've got like 4 people now who are cleansers or dispellers, interesting ones in the 15 tier. And Satori's good. Yeah, I like him. Doroga is probably the one you would choose if you're looking to increase Titan scores. So he's really a Titan hero for me. He's a very respectable sniper with burn damage that spreads also. But why you would choose him probably is for that stack at the end with 25% attack. So if you don't have an attack stacking hero for Titans, especially blue Titans, I think there's might be a couple other greens now that have attack stack, including a new Astral Dwarf, I believe, that does it. He might be a good option. Okay, and the 20 tier Dark Feather So Dark Feather, a lot of people love, and I still use him at, I have him maxed. He does a little heal and a little bit of growth, but what you use him for is this 50% chance to deal 270% to a random enemy after any allied skill. So it's kind of like a mini Guardian Hippo was, sort of. But it's a very useful skill for all your allies to have a chance to deal a pretty good hit. And the Goblin class, he can have a chance to blind. I don't think that's an enormous passive. And the Goblin family can remove boosted health. So it's good. Dark Feather's good. Lemonwood, I love Lemonwood. He can hit a bunch of enemies who are at nearly full mana, and combine him with Wukong. That's my only recommendation. He's awesome. He can hit like a truck. When Wukong goes first, he can never miss as part of his special, which is what Wukong does, but Wukong like boosts his damage by almost double. Not quite double, but it makes him hit like a truck. So I have Lemonwood, Wu, and 2 Doloreses on team, and I fire Dolores, Wu, Lemonwood, and the other team's pretty much wiped out. Damon, who is what I'm going to choose just because he's the only hero in the 20 tier that I do not have yet. Very fast hero. Stats are maybe a little bit lower than others in this tier. He dispels first. He blocks talent skill activation, which is going to be useful for some of these the season 1 costumes coming out. He won't block their passives, but he'll block the talent. So if you're having trouble with a reviver or something like that, the monk class, you can make sure something sticks to an enemy, which is kind of cool. It's pretty unique, and at very fast, it can be useful, especially on tanks who might revive. He deals, the damage is going to be like not the main thing, but the enemy also can't cast new status effects on anyone. So if you've got a tank that has an awesome class, like a cleric class, and like Gurik, he's be really good against Gurik. So that's who I'm going to choose. Heteferi's costume, super underrated healer and tank. Best stats in the whole Soul Exchange. Good healer, and with this passive 100% chance to get another 10% boosted health on top of that, plus passively lifts status ailment, so if she has mindless attack, she's still actually probably going to cleanse that for her team if she mindless attacks. And then health recovery on buff, so just a bunch of passives. She's got burn damage going on. She's got like a ton of passives. If you take her to 90, she's going to get even more healing. And then a great class too. So a monk class is a good healer, defensive healer, offensive healer for most war types. So huge heal. The defense boost against nature isn't usually what you bring her for. And then also super useful is that all enemies get blinded with like almost a 50% chance to miss. So she can heal you, and then the other team, they might not hit. So I should turn my messages off here. I highly recommend Heteferi's, and probably my favorite one generally of this 20 tier. And then Mina, still using wars, still a little bit understated. That 390 isn't going to hit quite as hard, but you are doing this fluff volley, so you're reducing the enemy's mana each turn over time randomly. So 3 enemies are going to get randomly reduced, but it's so useful to have a mana reduction over time. And he's now a little bit better than the owl that was Luna. So he's got better stats than Luna at this point, who is very desirable and very annoying at the time. So I think anyone in the 20 tier is valid. Heteferi's tank and Lemonwood are probably my favorite. I recommend any of them, though, depending on what you're needing. So with that, I am going to go exchange my heroes for Damon. And good luck and happy free roster opening for everyone.